Welcome, everybody, to Geek Dad Reviews. I'm Brian West.
And I'm Ryan Thomason.
And tonight we're going to be talking about the latest movie from Netflix, Triple Frontier.
Ooh, it's got Ben Affleck, Brian.
It's got a lot of macho dudes in it. I don't think I've seen this many macho dudes since, like, The Predator. But, I mean, they're not so buff, but they're super macho. So, a little spoiler warning. We are going to be talking about this movie. We'll try not to give away too many details, but there is one plot point we have to talk about. So, we'll try and save that towards the end of the end of the show. But, if you haven't seen this movie, I don't know, maybe check it out and come back and watch this. But we're going to be talking about all the things, and there's many things to talk about in Netflix's latest Triple Frontier. So, first thing I want to talk about is I feel like this movie's a little mismarketed, right? I saw a trailer for it. And it looked like an action adventure heist, kind of like this is going to be one. Like this is like The Last Job.
I remember when we both saw it. We both watched the trailer and we were texting each other and we're like, "Yeah, this seems, pretty cool. Is somebody, one of the guys in the group, screws everything up for everybody because they want to go big."
Yeah, but I mean, the trailer really made it like, okay, we've got all these American soldier badasses, special forces. They're all old, and they have one last job to rip off the cartel, and shit goes sideways, right? And you're like, oh, okay, this looks good.
Yeah.
And that was the movie for the first I remember watching, I'm about 40 minutes into this movie, and literally everything that you've seen in the trailer is pretty much played out, and you're like, what are they going to do for the last hour and 20 minutes?
Yeah, it's like all they just did their main task, and what's the rest of the movie going to be? And they only had 4 hours to go.
Oh, God. Okay,
like
so
4 hours to where they needed to go.
I have such mixed feelings about this movie, and I feel like we're going to trash a lot of it. So before we do that, I do want to talk about some of the strengths of this movie. The cast in this is amazing. Ben Affleck, Oscar Isaac, Charlie Hunnam, Garrett Hedlund, Pedro Pascal, awesome. They are such good actors in this movie for the most part. Even I know a lot of people trash Ben Affleck, but he looks like a 40-year-old out of shape, depressed ex-soldier, which is what he is in this movie.
He does a really good job. Did he direct this movie?
No, he did not direct it. It was directed by J.C. Chandor, which I'm not really familiar with his other works.
Okay, must be thinking of some other Ben Affleck movie, but no, I mean, like you said, he did a great job. God, why can't I not remember Sons of Anarchy guy?
Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah, he was really good.
Dude, when he gives his warrior speech at the beginning of the movie, so this movie opens up. So I feel like, and here's one of the biggest problems with the movie. This movie is like 5 different movies, right?
Yeah,
kind of rolled into one. And
that they tried to chop up and smash it into one.
Dude, the first hour of this movie, I'm thinking this is gonna be the best movie ever. There's so much tension. They do the heist. There's the drug dealers. There's all this stuff. They're infiltrating. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, the opening scene with Oscar Isaac, where he's I'm guessing Mexico, maybe Brazil or some place in either Mexico or South America.
What's Poe doing in this movie?
Yeah, well, I mean, it opens up with Metallica for Who the Bell Tolls. Yeah. He's in a helicopter. I'm like, yeah. And then these police officers are trying to take down these cartel dudes in a thing, and all of a sudden a rocket launcher gets shot out and blows up a car. I'm like, this movie's gonna be the best movie I've ever seen. The soundtrack in this movie is amazing.
On the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, they really set it up like one last job. I mean, it has like a Dirty Dozen feel to it almost, where you're like, okay, all these guys are not gonna come back from this movie. And this is, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but for a movie that really set up like one last mission that goes wrong, not nearly enough people died in this. They needed to kill way more people than they did. And like I said, we'll talk about that towards the end. So if you haven't watched this, we won't spoil it for you. But yeah, I mean, and then it goes into, so the heist happens and everything goes, and then all of a sudden it starts getting into, characters start becoming different characters, and they basically go from being Ben Affleck's character is the biggest change in this, and I think he goes from
80, in the middle of the operation.
Well, he's the planner, right? He's the operator, the guy who plans every mission. They wouldn't go on this mission without him. He's got an out for everything. And then all of a sudden he starts getting like super greedy for some weird reason, and then
he's all like breathing heavy. You know,
I think the movie wanted us to believe, that he's so broke down in life that the pull of all this money they find, because they think they're going to get $75 million and they end up finding like $1 billion in this. Oh, we have a dog. What's up, dog?
Yeah, sorry. It is 1:00 in the morning.
You are not being professional.
And he's like, Dad, why are you not? Why are you still awake?
But you know, much like that dog, Ben Affleck just doesn't know what he's doing, and he just changes the plan, and everything starts going sideways. And then characters who don't care about killing people all of a sudden care about killing people. It's just a weird. But anyway, everything goes sideways, and then they have these weird moment where like they all decide that they can beat physics. Like you have this great helicopter pilot who knows exactly how much weight he can take in this helicopter.
Yeah.
And he's just like, nah, I don't make it. It's fine. And like
screw it.
All the warning lights are going off and the thing's smoking, and they're still like, nah, we can make it over this mountain. You know. Yeah. And so like I think part of this movie wants to tell you that greed is corrupts all no matter what. And I mean, ultimately everything falls apart because they all get greedy, and then really at the end of the day they all kind of leave with nothing.
Yeah.
But
and it's very anticlimactic ending.
Yeah, it's just so okay. Here's the thing: we can't talk about this more without getting into some more spoilers. So this is your last warning. If you have not watched this movie, we're gonna spoil some stuff for you. But you know, so this movie goes from a heist movie, like a kind of a cartel message about drugs, and at the very beginning is also a very heavy-handed message about like the military complex. It takes young men. Yeah. Takes their best years and just spits them out with nothing, right? Which you really felt that, but then
acknowledge that, you know, they're like, you know, that's what we signed up for, you know, and they knew what they were getting into.
So they don't really go in. So here's the problem: this movie has a whole bunch of different ideas, but it never really dives into any of them really hard, right? So there's one about the idea of cartels and what it does to people and informants and stuff, but then it doesn't really dive into that, and then it goes into what does being a soldier do to you? But then they kind of go past that, and then they go into this heist, which is a cool heist. But then all of a sudden it goes into what does greed do to people? And then they go into this like lone survivor movie where they're like backpacking through the Andes for like a week.
Which is not like an easy mountain range.
Well, and Charlie Hunnam's been shot, and so for like, he got shot through the stomach, and he's just like, nah, it's cool, man, I got this.
Yeah. And they did not pack like food or anything.
But they refused to leave any of the money behind. Then they just opened fire on like a bunch of cocaine growers. It's just like these guys are like, no, we're not killing anybody. They're going there like, we're going to kill one person. Because Ben Affleck's got this amazing speech where he's like, you know, this is not sanctioned by anybody. What we are doing is illegal. There is no flag on your shoulder. Make no mistake, we are going in to commit armed robbery and at least one murder, you know. And you got to be okay with that. So the whole movie, they're like, we can't kill anybody. And they're you know, shooting like bad guys in the leg and then gagging them. But by the end of the movie, they're just like, in the middle of the movie, they're just like, let's murder all these villagers.
Yeah.
And then by the end, they're like,
just massacring everybody.
Yeah, and then by the end, they're all like, kill all the teenagers. But then one of them's like, no, we can't kill anybody. And it's just like, what is happening in this movie?
Yeah, and that's the guy who's heavy breathing and like trying to like.
Yeah, you know. I mean, they want to grow conscious. They don't want, you know, this is about like innocent people caught up in cartels. It's about your buddies and what that means, like trying to survive. But at the same time, they kind of turn on each other, but then don't really turn on each other. And really, the only casualty is a dead donkey for most of the movie, which was kind of funny. But, you know, and then spoiler, you know, the biggest spoiler of it all is, you know, Ben Affleck murders all these people, and then it comes back. Then some dude tracks him for like 5 days and kills him, and he's the only person who dies in this.
Yeah. And did you see, like, when before they flipped him over, he was like this, and then when they flipped him over, he's like.
Yeah, his eyes are wide open, and his buddy, who's supposedly like been a soldier,
and then he's back over, and he's like this.
And his buddy, who's been been a soldier for years, is like, "Come on, man, wake up!" And he's got like a giant hole in the back of his head. He's not waking up, dude. But and it's just like Ben Affleck. It's like Ben Affleck had to pay for his sins, but yet a lot of them committed sins, and it was just a weird. It was a weird message of him. I mean, it wasn't. Was it? Here's the thing. It wasn't. I didn't think it was a bad movie. I actually found the first half really good, and it was. Yeah. The performances, at least.
Second half, I fast forwarded to some parts because I just wanted to get through it.
Well, and I felt like a couple things. One, it was entertaining. I thought the performances were really strong, and I didn't finish the movie and go I wasted 2 hours of my life. This is just a movie that had so much potential that just seemed wasted, right? It just seemed like there was no main villain. The guys all didn't turn on each other nearly enough. Things didn't go crazy. They needed to pick one movie and just go with that movie, right? There should have been some OK Corral shootout at the end of the movie where most of them didn't.
The highest part, the entire movie. Yeah. And just elongated that, it would have been better.
And then you have two brothers. Usually that spells doom for one of them, and at least creates dramatic tension when they try and sacrifice their lives to save each other, but none of that happened. It was just... there was a lot of weird missed opportunities in this movie.
So, what do you have for your final conclusion on this?
I would say if you want to see some macho actors being good actors, and I really liked Oscar Isaac in this a lot, I'd say it's worth... I mean, it's probably one of the better movies on, a Netflix original. There's not a lot of good Netflix originals, but it is definitely...
It's good.
What?
Bright, or whatever that one was.
I liked Bright, and I liked Extinction. But yeah. I feel like this is a perfectly fine movie for 2 hours of your life. Just don't go in expecting a really great movie. Expect a movie with good performances and cool actors, and you'll be fine. But it is not what... Yeah,
it's a mashup.
It's a mashup movie that is going to make you feel like there was a really good movie in there somewhere that they just couldn't figure out what to do with it. So,
yeah, and very well acted. I mean, like I said, every single person on that is an A+ person. So
yeah, well, and because it's on Netflix, the only thing it's going to cost you is your time. So
yeah, that's true. So and I'm gonna agree with you. I mean, it's not a terrible movie, but
it's a C movie that has some really good stuff and some really dumb stuff.
I mean, and like I said, I did fast forward to 15 minutes of it because I just didn't care anymore, and I wanted to get through.
I did laugh at the end of the movie in the car chase, in the truck chase. Trucks just can't coming out of nowhere. You're like,
yeah,
where are these trucks coming from?
Yeah, but no, they're coming from the. And how are they being located?
It felt like a video game where they just randomly spawn trucks to ram into you.
But, or GTA, if you haven't got far enough away, they'll keep coming after you. So,
well, and like I said, if you're only going to kill one person in this, I mean, there needed to be more deaths in this movie. They needed to kill people for some more dramatic tension. But anyway,
more people.
But there you go. Unless you got anything else, Triple Frontier currently on Netflix. Give it a watch. Just keep your expectations low, and you might enjoy it.
Yeah. And that's all. That's as much as I have to say about it. So.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. Until next time, everybody, stay awesome.
And stay nerdy, everyone.